It looks like 2019 is going to be the year of the foldable smartphones, and the two biggest players right now are Samsung with the Galaxy Fold and Huawei with the Mate X. What's up guys, Saf here on SuperSaf TV, and what are the key differences between these two foldable devices? Well, let's break them down SuperSaf style. Now initially we do have different folds on both of these devices, and I describe them as my buddy Mr. Mobile likes to say, we've got an innie and we've got an outie. The innie being the Samsung Galaxy Fold, and the outie, because it folds on the outside, the Huawei Mate X. So let's initially talk about the Galaxy Fold, which was announced earlier, and that folds on the inside. So this has a 7.3-inch Infinity Flex AMOLED display, but it also has a second display which is on the cover, and that's 4.6 inches. With the Huawei Mate X, you have an 8-inch OLED display which folds on the outside. Now when it is folded down, it is split into two, so you have a 6.6-inch front display and you have a 6.3-inch back display which can also be active. Right, so which one of these implementations is better? Well, it's going to come down to personal preference. There's advantages and disadvantages to both. With the Galaxy Fold, the advantage is that you do get an inner display which is protected whenever the device is closed down, and then you have glass on the outside. You have to remember that glass does not fold, so these displays are based on plastic, and of course plastic is going to scratch much more easily compared to glass. So with the Galaxy Fold, it is going to be protected at all times, whereas with the Mate X, it is going to be exposed at all times. So when it's going in and out of your pocket, it is going to be more easily scratched compared to the Galaxy Fold. But the Galaxy Fold does have a few disadvantages because of this. And firstly, that is that you're not getting an all-screen display on the inside. There is a cutout for the cameras. Also, the outer display on the Galaxy Fold, although it's a separate independent display, it is pretty small, 4.6 inches with quite a bit of bezel. With the Mate X, when the device is flat out, you have minimal bezels, you don't have a cutout or anything like that. And when the device is folded down and using it in one hand, you are going to be getting a much larger screen size with smaller bezels. And the way Huawei have achieved this is with this sidebar. So this sidebar kind of acts like a handle, like a grip when you're holding the device when it's flat out, but it also houses the cameras. And because of this quite clever design, the Mate X doesn't need a notch or any cutouts for the cameras. Now, one of the things you would have noticed from both of the presentations is that there is visible creases on both of these devices. Now, which one of these is going to be more visible in day-to-day usage? I cannot tell you that as yet. Of course, when I've spent some more time with both of these devices in hand, I'll be able to tell you. But unfortunately, this does look like, because it's first generation technology, we will be seeing at least a little bit of crease on both of these devices. Now let's talk about the internals. The Galaxy Fold comes with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor. There may also be an Exynos version at a later point. And the Mate X comes with the Kirin 980 along with the Balong 5000. Now, in terms of speed and performance, both of these are very, very fast processors. But when it comes to RAM, the Galaxy Fold does have 12 gigabytes of RAM versus 8 gigabytes of RAM on the Mate X. So you are going to get more RAM on the Galaxy Fold. Also, when it comes to software, you've got Android Pie on both of these, but you've got One UI on the Galaxy Fold, and you've got EMUI on the Mate X. Now, the thing with the Galaxy Fold is that Samsung have emphasized that they've been working in partnership with Google as well as lots of Android app developers to optimize them for the Galaxy Fold. And they have also showed off app continuity, so continuing apps from the smaller display onto the larger display, but also 3-app multitasking. So you can have 3 apps open at the same time on the larger display. We've only seen 2 apps open on the Mate X. And although we have a massive 512 gigabytes of storage on both devices, the Galaxy Fold does come with UFS 3.0 storage. So this is much faster, twice as fast as current generation. So it does get the advantage overall in terms of speed and optimization. Of course, this may change as time goes on when apps get more optimized on the Mate X as well. But based on what we've seen so far, it looks like Samsung have utilized the displays a little bit more compared to Huawei on the Mate X. Now let's talk about the cameras. So we've got a total of 3 cameras on the Mate X. On the Galaxy Fold, we have a total of 6 cameras. Now let's break these cameras down. So on the Mate X, we have a similar setup to what we've got on the Mate 20 Pro. So that's a regular angle of view camera with 40 megapixels. Then we've got an ultra wide at 16 megapixels, and then we've got an 8 megapixel telephoto camera, which is going to give you optical zoom. With the Galaxy Fold, we also have a triple camera setup similar to what we've got on the S10s. So that's a regular 12 megapixel, an ultra wide at 16 megapixels, and a telephoto at 12 megapixels. But then we also have a single front-facing camera when the device is closed, and we have two cameras when the device is open. One of these is a front-facing camera, and then we've got a depth sensor as well. So lots of cameras here. Now, in terms of the camera quality, of course, we'd have to put them side by side, but something really interesting on the Mate X is that we don't have any front-facing cameras, and the reason for that is you can actually use the rear-facing cameras as front-facing cameras because of the way the device folds. So the back display can be used for selfies, so you can actually see yourself using the rear-facing cameras. Now this is really interesting because rear-facing cameras are usually much better than front-facing cameras. Not only that, because you have a display in the back, if you're taking pictures of somebody else, then they're also going to be able to see themselves on the back screen of the Mate 20X. And I gotta say, this is a very, very cool implementation, and I cannot wait to test it out. So you do get a few advantages here on the Mate X when it comes to the camera setups. Now, as far as we can see, neither of these devices have a 3.5mm jack, unfortunately. And when it comes to the batteries, both devices are using a dual battery solution, one battery on either side of the Fold. And we do get an overall a larger battery size on the Mate X. Now, usage obviously will vary. We're not sure exactly how long each of these will last. You will be powering more on the Mate X because it has a larger display, and it also has a larger display when the device is closed. With the Galaxy Fold, you'll only be powering the larger display when you've got it open. The smaller display is no doubt going to be taking up much less power, but of course this is going to vary and depend on lots of different factors. One of the advantages that the Mate X does have is that we've got Huawei's 55-watt SuperCharge. Now this is pretty insane. Huawei are claiming that you can get up to 85% of charge in just 30 minutes. That's crazy. And even if you don't get the advertised value, because that's the absolute maximum, even getting around 70 to 75% in half an hour is absolutely awesome. The speeds of the Galaxy Fold are unfortunately nowhere near that. But as far as we know, there is no wireless charging on the Mate X. The Galaxy Fold, however, does seem to have wireless charging, and you can also use Wireless PowerShare. So we've seen in the video from Samsung that you can charge other devices using your Galaxy Fold. This is something, as far as we know, is not available on the Mate X. Finally, let's talk about pricing. So Samsung have said the Galaxy Fold is going to be starting at $1,980, and it's going to be available from the 26th of April. So coming very, very soon. The Mate X is going to be starting at around 2,300 euros, which comes in quite a bit higher compared to the Galaxy Fold. And the release is also going to be later. Huawei have said mid-2019. We're not sure of a specific date as yet. Now, do bear in mind that this price is for the 5G edition, which the Mate X is going to be in by default. With the Galaxy Fold, as far as we're aware, there is going to be a regular version as well as a 5G version. So we're not sure exactly what the price of the 5G version is going to be. And that's everything that we know about the Samsung Galaxy Fold and the Huawei Mate X so far. What do you guys think of both of these devices, and which one would you go for? Definitely drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. In terms of my opinions, I'm liking both of these. I like both implementations, and I cannot wait to spend more time with these. I think it's great to see innovation in this area. And you have to remember that these are first generation products. So although they might not be perfect, they will be getting better over time. And as a tech enthusiast, I am super, super excited. Of course, as soon as these devices are in the studio, we'll be doing lots of coverage, SuperSaf style. And if you want to see all of that first, then make sure you have subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, then do hit that thumbs up button for me. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf TV, and I'll see you next time.